Welcome, folks, to the second part of a series of videos about getting your darts set up the way you like them. First, I must say that these are only my ideas. There are plenty of videos on YouTube where you can gain more knowledge and form your own opinion. I've been trying to set up my darts properly now for about 15 months, and especially since last July, after I had a couple of personal in-person coaching sessions with my now coach, Dynamite Dave. You cannot go wrong with his videos, so look him up on YouTube and check his hundreds of videos out. Start with the basic videos and go from there. So anyway, my first video, I showed you 5 of the same darts, which were Windmount Navigator 3, 23 grams, with 5 different flights. We showed you how they would land in the board, depending on how you throw the darts. Today, I'm going to show you 5 different darts with the same flights, and then I'm going to show you 5 different darts with different flights. So let's get right to it. I'm going to switch camera and show you how 5 different darts with the same flights would probably land in the board. So here you see my board 5 darts. This one up here on the far left is a Harrow Spiner, 18.5 grams. Going down here to the one in the 6th segment, which is my normal setup, which I have now changed a little bit, at 25.5 grams. And you see this dart is landing with the flight way up, and the heavier the dart goes, the less effect the flight has on the dart, gradually going lower and lower and lower until you see this one's almost pretty well much straight in the board. So we'll change camera and give you another view of this. So you can see here, this is more of a side view, and you can see how far way up this flight is on the Harrow Spiner and how straight this dart is looking right here. These two, this one is 22, this one is 23, so they're pretty close together, and they're landing in the board pretty well much the same. This is, I think, is a 20.5 gram, so that's sticking way up a little bit. And that is how these darts land in the board. They've all got in between 33 millimeter stems on them and full standard flights. And these are paper flights that came with my last set of darts from Darts Corner. So those 2 views of those darts in my board, the way they land is also going to depend on how you hold the dart. Now, I used to hold my darts at the back, like this. And when you release the dart, all this weight is in front of your dart, and it's going to tend to go like this. I've, over time, changed my grip to at the front, and I hold the point like this. And now when I release the dart, most of the weight is behind my release point. Basically, the weight of the barrel is following the front, and it tends to land in a lot straighter. Maybe like this, but basically straight. So here we have the same darts with different flights this time. Smaller flights on the light darts and bigger flights on the heavier darts. And you can see already what a difference the right flight for the right dart makes. These darts are all going in fairly straight. I tried to separate them on the board so you can see each dart as it goes in. We'll do this 3 times. So of course, like I said before, depending on where you hold your dart, and I'm holding all these darts fairly close to the front. If you hold them further back, they may have a slight upward tilt. So if you're just starting out, or even you've been shooting for a while and find something's not going right, get yourself an inexpensive mid-range set of darts, just like the Navigators. Put the flights and shafts on them. You'll probably come with 2 different length shafts and start throwing at the board. Hold the dart that feels comfortable. Don't do any weird stuff with it. To have a relaxed grip. And in one of my first videos about getting started, I showed you how one way to stand and one way to throw. You know, go back to basics and see where your darts fly. Try hitting the first dart with the second and third dart. If they're doing that, you're well on the road to shooting some good darts. If they're going all over the board, find out what you're doing wrong. You may be off balance with your stance. Make sure that is solid. Your arm may be all over the place. Make sure your elbow is still, and the only thing that moves is your forearm and your wrist. When I started getting a little better, I was still shooting a lot of darts in the 1. I kind of figured out that in my grip, I was holding my forefinger basically on the side of the point. And I think that was making my dart go like this. So I changed my grip a little bit to where this finger is almost basically on top of the point. And this way I can move the dart up or down, depending on whether I want the dart to go above the one that's already in the board or below it. So practice this. Sooner or later, you're going to get better. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, it took me probably a year to increase my average by about 10 points. And we all know why that is. Dynamite Dave. So the next video is going to be about how I set up my own darts. It will be in a little more detail, but hopefully you will enjoy it. A couple of things before I leave. If you like what you see on my channel, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you will know when I post another video, and I have a couple coming out pretty soon. On to some other news. Since our first Bomb Squad Premier League has ended, I'm trying to organize a tournament for our league players and possibly some more that have shown an interest in joining us. And this part of the proceeds from this will be donated to a charity for one of our shooters who's having a pretty bad time right now. His local league had a tournament this past weekend, April 30th, and the benefit for this tournament was Make-A-Wish Foundation Darts for Dreams. So if I can get this tournament organized, part of the proceeds are going to go to this very same organization in honor of our shooter who is having a tough time. And since this is a U.S. foundation, I think we're going to have another one later on in the year, possibly after our next season. And I think we will choose a UK charity, and that might be Stockport Disability Darts, one of our coach's favorite charities. Anything you can donate would be greatly appreciated. Your preferable method is Cash App account, which you see the link on the screen. But if you're in the US, you can also use PayPal at my email address, which you can also see on my screen, and I'll make sure the funds get where they're supposed to go. So thank you in advance, and see you next time.